This is how I built the stuff from Black Myth Wukong. Both corners and letters light up with movement or even by tapping. We will cover the design, electronics, lights, and we will test everything. This is the first of a two-part build, and yes, by the end I am going to upload the STL files in case you want to build this for yourself. So let's get to it. First, what I want to do is to make the stuff sensitive to movement. I'm going to need an Arduino Nano, the last one I have it seems, and also an accelerometer. The accelerometer will not measure the speed itself, but changes in speed. Here you can see I connected them, I programmed the Arduino, and added an LED. Why? Well, so when I move the protoboard, the LED will light up, and it takes around 4 seconds to turn completely off. This is because I want to mimic the part where Wukong calls his stuff, and it makes this effect in both corners. This simulates it is cooling down. Of course, all of this needs power, and I can just use a wall plug, right? So instead of that, I'm going to use a battery. This has 4400 milliamps hour and 11.1 volts. I know it might seem a little bit too much, but if I take this to an event, I really don't want to worry about the battery. Now we can plug this to our protoboard with some power connectors. I added 3 more things to our connector. First, I added a diode. This is to protect our battery from any reverse voltages. It is a bit chunky because it can handle 3 amps. Second, I added a switch on the negative side so I can open and close the circuit. I don't like things to work by plugging and unplugging them, so for me, a switch is always better. And finally, I added a buck converter. This is because our Arduino works in the range between 7 and 10 volts. That number may vary depending on the manufacturer, but yeah, that is the range for this one. And our battery is 11.1 volts, so I'm going to use the buck converter to step down that voltage, so it is well within the range of the Arduino Nano. And with that, we can take our circuit to whatever we want. The rest of the build is going to be 3D printed with different techniques, you will see what I mean in a moment. But to make this build really strong, I need to have something different at the core. So I'm going to use this metal tube. All of the prints are going to be surrounding this piece, so this will make it a lot harder to bend. The length of this tube is 180 centimeters or 71 inches, also known as almost 6 feet. Now, to make a proper test of the accelerometer, I'm going to tape all of the electronics to the metal tube because I want to make sure everything works the way it should in something closer to its final state. First, I'm going to add these extensions so the protoboard is on one side of the tube and the battery is on the other side, just to compensate a little bit of the weight. Our prototype is ready to be tested. Actually, if I put this on the floor, I think it's easier to see. There it is. The tape is not super strong, but I'm not going to swing this around too much. Let's take you to another room. Okay, everything's working. We're going to be concentrating on this LED. It should be on. Right, and off. Come on, off. I'm gonna have to take a look at the code again. Ah, there it is. So I want it this way because if I make a swing or a spinning movement, I like the light to light up for 3 to 4 seconds and then slowly fade out. So, like this, right? A swing movement, then lights up and slowly fades out. It will look so much better when I have the whole build ready. There is another feature from the accelerometer I want to take advantage of, but that will come a little bit later on. Let's leave the electronics on the side for a moment and let's talk about what is going to cover the whole metallic rod. So let's break down the design of Wukong stuff. We see at the center there's a big cylinder, and on the side there are bigger cylinders with a lot of design and patterns. So let's start with the middle, which is the simplest area. For that, I made these cylinders. You can see all of them have this kind of engraving. These are the letters that appear on the staff of Wukong in the game, and those letters mean the compliant golden hooped rod. This kind of engraving that I was talking about is not only for the letters, it is also 0.6 millimeters thick. Because I'm going to place some RGB LEDs on the inside and I want them to light up only the letters like in Black Myth Wukong. This effect happens mainly when he calls the staff, not when he's using it, so I will create an effect for that also. I also add these features on the top of all of them. This is actually the one in the middle, that is why it has on both sides. This is so they can assemble really easily. And that is for the letters to be aligned. These are going to be glued at the end. Of course, the rod is not that thick, so that is why there's an inner cylinder which matches the diameter of that rod right there. And after all of the parts are glued together, I can just put them like this. There are a couple of extra features in the design of these cylinders, but I'm going to talk about them in the assembly because it will make more sense then. There are going to be 5 of these cylinders. I only have 3 because those other 2 are going to have the pockets for the electronics and the battery. And in order to do that, first I need to miniaturize the electronics. And for me to miniaturize the electronics, I need to add all of the lighting. But for me to add all of the lighting, I need to test it before. Otherwise, I'm going to make a mistake after everything is soldered and it's going to be a lot more troublesome to fix. So yeah, I'm going to need to do a couple of tests so that can happen. I got help from JLC 3DP for the parts that are going to be in the corners, which are by far the hardest pieces. I already designed them. This is how the end result should look, and this is what I got. Oh man, this looks amazing. I got this one printed in a very strong material called 8001 resin to avoid all of the sanding while keeping a high level of detail. This print uses SLA technology. For the color, I went with translucent with no surface finish because I want the light to pass through the yellow areas to keep the effects of the game. Testing that is the next step. The staff has many decorations, like the dragon that comes from the top, goes around the staff, and finishes at the bottom, plus other patterns and a bunch of clouds everywhere. Of course, I based the design on the game and other references I found. This is a very detailed print. You can see this especially on the scales that are on the surface of the dragon. You can even see the tooth of the dragon as well. Process of printing and shipping was very simple, and this is a clear example of the quality of their prints. So I will definitely recommend working with them in your projects. Alright, now let's go work on the lights. Every time I need to light something up, I think of RGB LEDs, and this is not the exception. So first I need to solder all of the RGB LEDs that I will need for the 5 letters, and each letter will be lit up by 3 of the LEDs, so that will be 15 in total. I printed just a small piece of the stuff and painted it with this gold paint for a better effect, and also to test this in something really close to the final build. Okay, time for testing. I am not convinced. You can really see the center of every LED, and the light is not distributed evenly across the letter. Okay, let's add copy paper to diffuse the light. It seems it's not enough. And it makes sense because the light is too close to the surface we want to light up. Should have tested this before I soldered all of these lights. Okay, let's focus on the solution because I think I have something that could work. I have been waiting the right time to use this. There they are. These are LED strips. Well, LED filaments. They come in different colors, in different lengths. But yeah, I can use this. Here is one of the LED filaments, and you can see this side has a small hole that is indicating this is the positive side, and this one at the right is the negative one. So I connected one with a 10 ohm resistance, and you can see they light up really bright. So bright, even the wood is reflecting it. And it's even brighter, you know, in real life. Now, if I add our little piece of the staff of Wukong, let's see how this looks. Yeah, well, in camera it's hard to see, but it's a lot better. Let me fix it. Yeah, there. This is how it really looks. Stay there, like this, okay? Remember that. The color is really good because this is warm white, so it kind of helps out with the golden color. Now I'm going to also add a resistor to all of this, add a MOSFET to control the brightness, and insert all of this in the current electronics. Oh, I almost forgot. I called this an LED strip earlier because if I lower the voltage and put this copy paper on top, you can kind of see the smaller LEDs really close together. I think you can see them. If not, just trust me, there's a lot of LEDs close to one another. I really quickly painted this piece just to take a look at how the final result would be. And let me tell you, it does look pretty good. I know it's green, the final color is going to be kind of brown, but yeah, very happy with this. Okay, now let's try to see how we can light up this. I'm not even going to play with this. I don't want to break it. We're going to try to light this up. This is going to be painted at the end. The dragon, the clouds, and the patterns are going to be gold, and the rest is going to be brown. But still, I want to see how the light goes through it. I know it can go through the plastic, however, that is 0.6 millimeters of thickness with paint, while this one is 4 millimeters thick. However, this one is translucent, so it kind of balances out. So let's bring all of the electronics over there. And now we get to try the RGB LEDs we saw there earlier. You can see all of the LED filaments are already in the protoboard. Check this out. Very cool, right? I'm going to teach you how to do that, but that comes in part 2 of the build. If you like that effect, give a like to the video and subscribe for more awesome builds. And to get a notification when the second part is live. Now let's put all of the LEDs on the inside. It is looking pretty good. The paint is going to help diffuse all of this, so it comes out evenly across the dragon and the clouds. And it's going to be a bunch more of LEDs on the inside. For part 2, I'm going to show you how I tune everything on by tapping. We're also going to miniaturize the electronics, work on the side parts, the structure of the inside of the corners. You might notice we only have one of the side pieces. That is because I have something very special reserved for the other corner. We also need to add paint, assemble the whole thing, and see how the final build works. If it's ready, you can find part 2 right here. If it is not there, in the meantime, you can watch how I build Jinx Jumper. I will see you in that video.